Senator Joe Griffo's in studio. You know, we have some really inclement weather on the way. Not today, not tomorrow, but it looks like Thursday, Friday, and into the weekend it's going to be pretty snowy.
Getting close to winter. It's always a tough time of year.
Yeah, it is.
I think December, the only thing that really gets you through it is the holidays because it diverts our attention and we get to go to a lot of the holiday get-togethers. And
Yet there are some that just love they just
darkness.
Can't wait for the snow.
Snow, I get.
You
the
know?
darkness is the kind of the thing.
Darkness. It has been last week. I don't know what it was, but it was the skies were just so dreary last week.
The good news, though, is in a couple of weeks when we hit the winter solstice, we start gaining again.
Start going the other way. Okay, so let's talk about NANO. This is an official telling the OD corruption investigation of the state projects have been holding up progress.
Well, there were a couple of things that have been happening, obviously. First, there was as a result of the corruption investigations and the charges that were brought against Dr. Calleros and some of the governor's staff, there was a transference of the economic activity from where it was over to the Empire State Development Corporation. So obviously that change is going to cause some delay in some of the activity because now you have a new department taking that over, trying to review and examine all pertinent information and aspects of the deals that were put together.
Yeah.
Beyond that, I'm not sure what specifically related to any investigation would cause a problem. All I know at this point in time from our conversations with those in the executive branch that have now the responsibility, and that's Howard Zemsky and his department at Empire State Development Corporation, is that they are looking at everything. They do not believe at this point in time that anything is in jeopardy. GE, as you recall, made an announcement a couple of months ago reaffirming its commitment here.
So GE is in because
they made a statement.
Yeah.
They issued a statement right after all of this, and I think it was because of some of the concern that you've expressed that many of us had also saying, where are you now? Does this change anything? And they issued a statement saying, no, they remain committed to move forward in the next calendar year.
Okay.
Relative to AMS, I know Steve DeMille has been working very hard.
So correct me if I'm wrong. The AMS deal is basically our deal.
It's a state of New York deal, you know, that.
But Mohawk Valley Edge put that deal together.
They're involved. They did a lot of the. Steve has done a great job with his staff of going out identifying potential businesses that could take advantage of what we have to offer here. As I indicated, we've always talked about this in the past. What we've tried to do from a local perspective is first identify opportunity in certain areas, like in nanotech or cybersecurity, and secondly, trying to divert the resources necessary to facilitate those connections. We've done that successfully. Now that the deal itself is something that was put together between the Empire State Development, Empire Economic Development officials. And in this particular instance, I do not believe that anything at this point in time is made evident to us that would indicate that the AMS deal is a problem. Now, having said all that, we also talked about the fact that things change and companies, the more time goes on, just like we talked about earlier, living in a new environment, like with high technology and social media, institutions have to adjust to that. Similarly, these companies may be reevaluating and reexamining what they were doing and how they were doing it. The concern I do have is that some of this now may be not as big as it was originally proposed. But I don't know. But I think it still would be substantive in the sense that you're still going to get...
You've always been kind of, whenever they announce the jobs, you've always said, I'd be careful about using numbers.
Yeah, absolutely. I did that from the time I was in local government to now because I know that a lot of people look at this, and it's impossible to meet a number projection in jobs from my experience. So I do believe that in this case, the commitments are here, and there will be significant jobs. It's not going to be like
a lot of people banking
25
on this
jobs
to be big.
Yeah, I think it still will be big. It's still, no matter what, you get up to 500 jobs in anything right now in one particular area, then another 500, 750 jobs in another. I mean, you're going to be talking over 1,000 jobs based on the estimates that I've seen. My only point is when you talk about whether or not this will have an impact, some of the investigations, I don't believe so. What could have an impact ultimately is the state of the world economy and these companies themselves. We can't tell a company what to do. You can just like Disney or something. You can say, you will not make these movies next year, or you'll go into a new genre.
Well, Trump has been successful with that.
Well, I think
he told Carrier, you do this or we're going to do that.
Well, I think in Trump's case, though, it was unique. Number one, first of all, Indiana did something that we do in New York, where they put a deal on the table. New York has done that. Some people criticize that, and I think that's where we talk about corporate welfare. But they put a sweet deal together for Carrier to stay there. Secondly, Carrier, because their parent corporation, United Technology, has significant work with the Department of Defense, they did not want to upset the president-elect, and recognizing that they're going to have to work with the federal government and a lot of their business.
So he had leverage.
He had some leverage there.
Right.
So I believe in this case, Bill, again, I don't. From this point in time, I don't believe there's really any reason to have concern. Obviously, we're going to monitor things. What's it going to look like ultimately? Well, I think it still will be sizable. But again, remember, as you said, don't look at numbers saying, well, you said it was going to be 525, and now it's only going to be 500.
Do you have a prediction of a date quickly? And I got a break. When do you think? When are we going to see jobs actually hit here?
I'm hoping the next calendar year.
Okay, so in 2017.
Especially at Quad C first. Remember, the other has to build the facility,
Understood.
too.
Okay.